Hello everybody, I'm Alfred, and the video we're about to watch is the trailer for the movie The Fallout. So let's get the party started.
You don't even need to wear makeup.
Sorry, what?
I just said you don't even need to wear makeup.
What was that?
So I'm already getting the vibe of school shooting propaganda, and you can see this young fellow lady with this, showing the nipple, showing, through the dress. This is not good and this is not appropriate. Award-winning future debut of actor. You see, if they allowed teachers and security officials to come in with guns, this problem would not be there. And when it comes to that, let's talk about students having guns. How does a student walk into a school with a gun? There are a lot of places, gated communities, and certain kinds of places that you are searched, and of course there are metal detectors, the ones that are manual, where the fellow uses his hand and runs the metal detector through your dress, and the one that you walk through. So walk through metal detectors, should be in any respectable public facilities where anybody can shop. It is for the security of the people. So all these things should be there. A lot of money is spent on education, and the school system, and apparently it's spent in all the wrong places. It's just to make people rich and to waste money in foolish endeavors that have to do with the school.
Did you know anyone who died?
The power of this music is to stroke fear and to inspire fear of school shootings, all to push the propaganda of get rid of guns. And the interesting thing about all these things that socialists and leftists push, all the things that they push are for some people but not for all people. For example, when they push for taxes, tax the rich, they mean tax the middle class, tax the poor, then tax rich people that are not specifically in certain groups. Tax the rich does not apply to Bill Gates. Bill Gates is getting richer with the more taxes because of certain provisions that are available. They are not available to all rich people, but to a select rich people that have political power, clout, and certain connections. So it creates a situation where there can be no rich people except a certain few people. Understand that the Federal Reserve is owned by individuals. Who are the private individuals that all their life they have owned the Federal Reserve? Do you know that the New York subway is, for a long time, it is not the property of New York. It is owned by individuals, personal, private individuals. It's on lease to the city of New York. A lot of you didn't know that. I don't know if they have changed that, but in the 2000s, just the 2000s that it just closed, but it had been that way in the 2000s, and way back. This is something that goes way back, to the founding of New York. So that land, the rights for the subway is not owned by New York. So taxes do not apply to certain people, because the reality is that when you are paying taxes to some people. Just like I mentioned, the Federal Reserve is owned by individuals. It's a private company. It's owned by individuals. So now you are creating a situation where only certain people can be rich. Capitalism creates a situation where, based on your ability and what you produce, you can be rich. But not everybody would make millions and billions, off the back in capitalism. But you now have the ability. Are you able to create a product or service that people will value, and can you market it to enough people, or at a price, that there's such demand for it and there's such a need for it that, you cross that threshold and, go into millions and billions. That is what capitalism does. But socialism and democratic socialism and all of that, it gives the government all the power. It takes away all the control and all the influence. You no longer have the ability to be rich and have any say. Look at Australia, all the nonsense that is happening in Australia, because all power has been shifted to the government and people didn't know it when the government had so much power and took all the powers. The people have no power. A lot of people have taken a vax that doesn't work and that it is written and established that it is experimental. So if anything happens to them, they participated in an experiment, like if they were not forced to take the vax or manipulated into taking the vax by the government. But you see, all the pharmaceutical companies are free of indemnity. If anything goes wrong, when anyone takes any of the vax, it is their fault. They can't sue the company. And this is something that is stipulated, and when you look at the websites of this pharmaceutical company, all this information is there. It's publicly available, So how do people lose all their power and all their rights? And people don't understand these shifts of power that are going on. Like I said, communism, socialism, democratic socialism, or whatever, all these things, they put laws for some people. Like, for example, taking away guns. When they take away guns, who has the guns? Criminals. Because criminals don't care about laws. Now, only criminals have laws. Have guns, sorry. The police have guns. Then these politicians that are saying take away the guns, they have private security that carry guns. Some of them use police security and military security, some of the politicians, some of these people of influence. So it does not affect everybody. It just affects the majority and some people. So there are things that you have to know when they say tax the rich. It does not apply to the particular people who, have a lot of the power and the influence. It does not apply to them because taxes are paid to them. When you pay your taxes, understand that it is not like you are giving something to God or you are giving something to a spiritual entity. You are giving it to a physical group, to an entity, to human beings on earth. Government is people, not spirits. So when you are paying your taxes, you are just shifting your money into the hands of a few people to determine however they want to spend it. If they want to use it to start wars, if they want to use it to buy their son all kinds of things and save tax benefits, how much does people in the US Senate, how much do they take away home? How much do they spend? What is their salary? And what of their other benefits? They have been getting, they have been getting, they spend money how they want, and they can shift things and hide things in secret accounts how they want, because they are the ones that are writing the laws. They say nobody is above the law. It's a lie. These are not laws of God. These are laws of man. When they are talking about nobody is above the law, what about the individual that wrote the law? What about the individual that has the power to be editing the law anytime they want? That is what the Senate does. When they are amending bills and changing bills, they are changing the law. So what about the people who are writing the law? The people who are writing the law are above the law. The people who are paying for the people who write the law to be in those positions to write the law are also above the law. So don't be fooled.
Can I have some wine? Did you have the craziest nightmares last night?
You have to be able to sleep to have nightmares.
I've learned to lose, you can.
This is not good, If someone goes through some sort of trauma, stoking up fear does not help. And this is basically what this movie does. And, it's all about propaganda to just trump up that feeling of, they need to take away guns from the people. But when you take away the guns from the Americans, then what happened in Australia becomes possible in America. What is currently happening in Australia with the detention camps and, basically the treatment of people like slaves, making the unvaxxed, second-class citizens and all of that. And, the constant jabbing, and all the monetization. And these politicians are getting rich of it. Don't be fooled. They are getting rich of it, because this is sure, this is the pharmaceutical industrial complex. This is a large stream of income for a lot of for these pharmaceutical companies that are making vaccines that people are making and people are taking, and that is why it is to their advantage for them to keep making more and more and more. So jab 1, jab 2, jab 3, jab 4, jab 5. They keep making money. It's like getting updates for your software for your phone, and having to pay for, and the nation is paying for the update financially, even though they are telling you it is free. Nothing is free. Economically, in this economic system of the world, nothing is free. You know, the fact that you do not pay for something doesn't mean that somebody else didn't pay for it. You know, Google is not free. Facebook is not free. You may think it's free, but you know, you are the product. You know, you are the one that is giving Facebook money. Anytime you spend time on Facebook, you know, your signing up for Facebook is money for Facebook. You know, so understand that about the financial system of the world. You know, when you see free stuff, you know, you go to they say the concert is free. Somebody paid for it. Even you go to church and you just sit down there, somebody paid for that building. You know, if it is rent, somebody's paying for that rent. You know, so all these things, you have to understand this reality. You know, in this current economic system of the world, nothing is free. You know, and even if you want to change it to a socialist one, that is even worse, because now the people own nothing. They have paid the ultimate, that is the ultimate cost that they could pay. They now have zero, and they have signed up for perpetually having zero. Now everything that they could ever get has to come from the government.
Tell me about your brother.
He was always making me laugh.
What are you feeling right now? I feel mad.
You went through something no one should ever have to go through.
Can you stay just till I fall asleep?
Let it go.
Life's hard.
You're right. Life's confusing!
I can't feel anything!
You see, this is negativity. You know, life's hard, life's confusing, all of this negativity. You know, and this is why it's important to have the gospel, especially in stories and in movies, when the gospel and the word of God is being preached. You know, what you have is positivity, what you have is love, what you have is truth, not deception and propaganda like this jumble of propaganda is.
What are you thinking about? I can't say it.
Let's say you die tomorrow.
And what if you die sad because you regret not saying what you wanted to say?
And they are even dealing with this topic of death and dying. And of course, they'll deal with it from a secular, non-Christian perspective, which is basically a perspective of, you know, lies and, you know, a perspective without the truth, you know. It is sad, and this is what they are propagating and teaching kids, and this is what people would learn.
This can't be for nothing. We won't even let this be for nothing.
The shoulders. You can't do it without the shoulders.
Ooh, yeah.
I could lie, say I like it like that, like it like.
Well, this is complete nonsense. Let me see if there's a synopsis for it on the Internet Movie Database website. Okay, so it says high schooler Vada navigates the emotional fallout she experienced in the wake of a school tragedy, relationships with her family, friends, and view of the world are forever altered. You know, it's very important that, you know, we Christians, we are the ones that are making the movies and telling the stories, because when you leave the power to have such influence over young minds and over the public, you know, into the hands of someone that doesn't have Christ, what are they going to push? You know, they are going to push what they know, which is, you know, foolishness and darkness. You know, it is those who have the light, you know, that should be pushing for their message, you know, through entertainment and, you know, every means of communication. We need to take over the airways. You know, the devil is called the prince of the powers of the air, you know, but he was dethroned when Jesus Christ died and resurrected. Understand that the earth is the Lord and the fullness thereof. Understand that, you know, ever since the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus, all power has been given to Jesus. There is no other name that is higher than the name of Jesus. And Jesus has delegated us with authority to go in His name and then win this world for God. So it is not just going and talking to people one-on-one. We have to, occupy more ground swiftly by taking over industry, by taking over strategic structures and systems of the world. We can't take over the system of the world. There are a lot of people in Christianity, they have been held back by looking at the prophecies in the book of Revelation. And because of that, it is like, because these prophecies must come true, so the devil must have, the world must be the world. The world will have, the prevailing mentality in the world must be the world's ideology and not the world's ideology, and that has become a problem. Yes, everything in the book of Revelation will come to pass, and a lot of it has already come to pass, and we are so close to the rapture. But understand, look at, ever since the first century, the disciples had the expectation, and the Christians, they had the expectation that they were living in the last days, which created a problem of them not making enough efforts to occupy positions of power and authority, and going after, let us win the world, because it's like we're already at the end. We are in the last days. It's kind of like the tribulation period mindset. If you're in the tribulation period, it's like, it's already the tribulation period, so it is time for the Antichrist. So a lot of people had that mentality of, especially when Christians were being thrown to the lions, it was like, the Antichrist, has already manifested and all of that. So, it is that season. But look at all the time between them, that mindset of ignoring positions of power and taking over communication and the world, let us take the whole world, it cost a lot. It took a fake version of Christianity for Christianity to spread, and that is through the Catholic Church. It took people who did not have a full grasp of Christianity or truly love Jesus, to the core, or know Jesus, for Christianity to reach where it reached. You have to understand something about the rapture and the last day. Jesus said 2 in the field walking, and 1 be taken, 1 not taken. And you have to understand the concept of Jesus wants to find you walking when He comes. So don't leave spaces like, because of the Antichrist and all of that, we won't go into politics, because, the devil is going to take politics. So what is the point of going into politics? So, what is the point of trying to take over, and to see a world where everybody, receives the gospel, through the airways and all of that? They think that the Christian has to be subservient to the world. The Christian ideology, it is like, it is our lot to be persecuted and to be second-class citizens, especially in ideology also. The world, they have their ideology, and that is the dominant one. It is always the non-Christian ideology that is dominant ideology. Don't think like that. While you are here, do all you can. Even if, someone is listening to this during the tribulation period, still do anything you can to expand this gospel without limits, to preach to those who are around. That is, if you are going to be if you are listening to this right now and you are in the tribulation period. So that is obviously I'm not around. This is for those who get the recording, and for some reason they are playing the recording during that period. I will obviously make moves to see that a lot of my teachings and teachings of other saints are going to be available during the tribulation period, and that is an important move, because the devil will try to wipe it out. But all of that being said, we have to right now dominate and go forth, and we must take over entertainment, movies and everything. If you'd like to be a part of what we plan to do, reach out to us on Alfred.vip. We are looking forward to hearing from you. Also note, if you have not given your life to Christ, go to Alfred.vip, click the salvation prayer link in the main menu. When you do that, the page will come out that has a prayer of salvation. Say that prayer telling God you want to become a Christian and live your life for God. Also note, there's a salvation prayer link in the description below. Thank you and God bless you.